What's happening? Did you miss us? It's time for another Accountability Success Quickie. This is number 71. We're going to be talking about how to reflect on your annual plans. We're going to get started in just a moment. Shoot us a little comment, hit the hearts, let us know where you are tuning in from, whether this is live or the replay. We're getting started in just a moment. Hope you like our new music. It's kind of sexy. All right, we're gonna get started in 3, 2, 1, and
like it.
Right?
How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing great. I'm gonna fade this out.
Nice.
Yes. Hello. Hi, April.
Has it been a while? It's been a while.
It's been about 2
break,
weeks.
Couple weeks. Yeah.
So spring break's over.
It's definitely spring. Lots of rain here in Chicago. So, but yeah, ready to talk some strategy. And it's the end of March today.
Yes. Last day of the month. Last day of Q1 of 2022.
Yeah. And so we were thinking about talking about this because of the fact that, it is March. At this point, we talk a lot about the annual planning retreat we hold in October, which is almost 6 months. From now, we'll be going into our next retreat, which means that in terms of the planning calendar, we've gone halfway through the year. But in terms of the not academic, the regular calendar, January to December, we're 1 quarter through. And one of the things that we talk about when it comes to annual plans is that it's one thing to make the plan, but it's a whole nother thing to try to, reflect through that. And so we thought this was a good time, it being, the end of Q1 of 2022, just to give yourself an opportunity to reflect on how things have been going so far. And whether or not you did an annual plan, I mean, this is just a really great way to, start a new phase or a new, I don't know what the word is. It's just like a season in a sense, to just, kickstart some new stuff. And so today I actually did my review of the past quarter, just kind of looking back at my annual plans, but sort of not having a plan, whether you have one or not. We have some really powerful questions that you can ask yourself at any point that you feel like you need to transition into like a new start or anything like that. So shall we start with number 1?
Yeah, let's jump in. All right, this is the first thing, just to get you off on a good foot, not fit. Ask yourself when you're reflecting, what has gone well? When you sort of think back over the last quarter, last few months, what are the wins? What are the things that you're grateful for? In the ASC, when we have our quarterly, or not quarterly, forgive me, monthly happy hours, we do a shortened version of this over the last month. It's called Rose, Thorn, and Bud. And so the what has gone well is the rose portion of this. What are the wins? What are the success? The reason why it's important to think about this is that when you think about what has gone well, as small as it can be, you get a little hit of dopamine. Dopamine is that neurochemical in your brain that is going to keep doing more of that. So it's important. And I understand you may be one of those go-getters that have very ambitious goals, and maybe you didn't do as much as you had hoped. But the fact that you did something is worth celebrating. In his book, Tiny Habits, researcher BJ Fogg talked about celebration and how people who celebrated the tiniest things were 3 times more likely to keep going compared to the people who didn't. So this is where, regardless of where you are on the scoreboard, I'm pretty sure you've done something worth celebrating. And then that is the first step. What do you got, April?
Great. Nope, I agree. I think, the really important part about this as well is that it is forcing you to think in a positive way. You know, a lot of times we tend to be our worst critics. And so when it comes to bragging, or, you know, I'm talking about, you know, thinking about Friday brags, the things that we do in the ASC as well. You know, you could be having a rough week, but, you know, the big challenge is, are you able to think of a positive thing? So like, you know, I didn't sleep under, you know, I might have slept horribly all week, but I at least had one day of an 8-hour sleep. So you might look at that as overall fail, but having that one win throughout the course of the week is an example of, thinking about the things that have gone well instead of always focusing on the negative. So anyways, then we can move on to the second, as we were mentioning, Rose, Thorn, and Bud, the reflection tool that we use in our ASC happy hours. The next one is what's weighing you down or what's challenging you. So this is the Thorn section. So, you know, we're going through the different parts of the rose. These are the things that kind of allow you to vent frustrations, angers. You know, we talk a lot about positive thinking, but it's just a matter of life that there are going to be things that are going to challenge us, to trigger us, and all of those things. And so to be able to call upon those things that are weighing you down can at least either bring them to the surface so that you can start to think about, well, what do I want to do about it? Or to at least even just vent the stress out of your body and into the universe, so that it's not literally or figuratively weighing you down. So it's a great way to think about, like, yes, it's kind of the opposite of what has gone well, but it usually should lead to some sort of action-oriented next step. But sometimes it just calls it into awareness. So, Gary, you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, want to definitely reiterate the action point. In improv, we talked about there is no such thing as a mistake. Everything's a gift. Nothing's a mistake. So when you think about what are the things that are challenging you, yeah, it didn't go exactly as planned. Maybe you might be behind on this, or you hit a few stumbling blocks. But the cool thing is that now you can reassess and you can regroup and you can make some new game plans that you are, that hopefully excites you. And I'll give you a real world example. So one of the things that I'm working on, those of you who know me personally know this, that I'm working on a book. I'm on like the home stretch. I'm almost finished with the book.
So cool.
Ran into a few snags with some of the stuff with getting it produced. And, it's kind of frustrating. Was not what I was expecting. And now I'm sort of reassessing and regrouping. And, it is what it is. Like April said, you could just sort of vent and complain and do nothing. And then, days go by and then it's the end of 2022 and, made no progress. Or you can just, it is what it is. Let's get it out. And what are we going to do about it? And so that is a great sort of segue into number 3. So we talked about the rose, we talked about the thorn, and here is number 3. What are you most excited about for the next quarter? And maybe it's after you reassessed some of these challenges that you're having, you're excited about the progress that you're going to make. And in our rose, thorn, and bud, this is the bud. What are the things that are on the horizon? This is very forward thinking. This is looking about upcoming opportunities. It's also looking at, continued progress. And I know with some bigger goals that have multiple steps, you can easily get sort of bogged down by like the weight of it. But how can you look at this as something to look forward to? And what do you got, April?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the big thing about this question, the bud, is really looking at it's almost the future tense of the rose. Things that you're excited about, things that this could be what you're focused on. And we were talking about how you can do this on a quarterly basis. We kind of structurally look at these things on a monthly basis with the ASC, but you can do it quarterly, you could do it monthly, you could do it weekly, you could do it daily if you want to. And so even though we're kind of throwing out a structure of reviewing on a quarterly basis, I think at the very bare minimum, you want to look at it in the quarter. So if you're watching this today, ask yourself these questions, like what is, what am I excited about, and what is, weighing on me, and what has gone well in the recent past. Because then it's a good springboard for what's to come in the next iteration. So I think that's it. That's those are our 3 questions. Super, super simple. If it's easier for you to think, what are my rose, thorn, and bud? Do that and give yourself an opportunity to make this a habit where you are constantly reflecting, because we talk a lot about how reflection is such an important piece in creating any plans and making really solid accomplishments. So if this stuff is your jam and you're really, really interested and want to learn more, you definitely need to come check out our community, the Accountability Success Circle, which is accountabilitysuccesscircle.com. We've got some amazing people who from all different walks of life, parents, entrepreneurs, people who are employed, people who are retired, people who have kids and don't have kids. And they're all sharing the common goal of wanting to be the best versions of themselves and accomplishing things that make them happy. And so if you need that in your life, come check us out, and we'll see you on the next Quickie.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, y'all. And we'll see you on the flip side.